Hi everyone, welcome to my garden. This orchid is an Epidendrum porpax, which is a species. Its native habitat is pretty extensive, going from Central America all the way to some areas in South America. This is a miniature orchid, not just one plant, but two cuttings that survived a gift I got last year from channel petals, sepals and spines. This orchid grows these short cane-like stems. They don't grow taller than this, but they can extend in width, forming clumps, sometimes very dense clumps. And that is what I was hoping for. However, these have not been fast growers for me. And I'm wondering if it has to do with the amount I gave them. This mount I was using till today is a sort of a box I made with a plastic grid. And I've filled it in with large coconut chips. The coconut chips can hold water for a long time, and my idea for using the coconut chips was to give this orchid enough moisture at all times. Because in its native habitat, this orchid grows wet in montane and tropical cloud forests. I was hoping the humidity from the coconut chips in the back would be enough, and it was at some point, but not what I was expecting. Maybe it would have worked better if I had filled in this box with sphagnum moss instead. But in my climate, sphagnum moss soon gets mushy with algae. A reason why I don't like it much and I don't really use it much. Cork mounts are very popular and I have a bucket full of them. But for some reason they don't work for me. That is, for some reason they soon get a whitish sort of fungus in the back and the cork starts degrading. It might be because of my humid climate or maybe the way I water them. Anyway, that is why I have placed this orchid on this homemade mount, which obviously didn't work either. And so I have this new mount here. This is the last one of some wooden slabs I bought at the orchid fair last March. And it happens that the orchids I have mounted on them, on similar slabs like this, are doing great so far. I'm not sure if this wood is long-lasting, but at least I know what kind of wood it is. This is a slice of a trunk of the strawberry tree, which is native to this part of the world, around the Mediterranean. As it happens, I have two of those strawberry trees. They are still very small, but let me show you because they are in bloom now. These can grow up to 5 meters, but I don't let them grow taller than this. Otherwise, they would shade the cacti in those pots in the back. So, coming spring, I always give them a good pruning. These are the flowers, and they look so much like heather flowers, don't they? That's no wonder because these belong to the heather family. We call them strawberry trees because of the fruits. I'll post a photo of the fruits so that you can see how they look like. In Portugal, this is a very common tree in the wild, mostly in the south, and the fruit is used to make a white brandy, which is very much appreciated. But enough chit-chat, let's go back to our remounting session. Removing the two cuttings from the old mount is not going to be difficult. Neither of them is much attached to the medium. Still, one has to be careful. Although both cuttings were getting the same light exposure, this smaller portion turned red, whilst the other one didn't. This red color comes from a pigment called anthocyanins, a chemical reaction to protect leaves from light damage. This other piece stayed green, most probably because it was taking better advantage of my daily watering, and it also grew better. I already know that I needed to up the humidity around the roots, so this time I'm going to make them a bed of moss. Not too much of it though. This mount only has holes on the lower part. It would be nicer to have holes also on the upper part. This way I'll have to place these cuttings lower than I anticipated. The holes are good to let the wood dry out faster, but essentially they are practical to secure the moss. They are in place now. And considering I already have plenty of moss underneath them, I'm only placing a few strands on top. To hold the moss in place, I have two options: fishing line or this rubber thread. Aesthetically, fishing line is better because it is almost invisible. But on the other hand, it's not easy to work with when you have wet hands from the wet moss. So I'm going to use the black thread, which is more practical. Well, I'm trying to hold the plants and the moss in place by using the holes. As the holes are hidden by the moss bed, they are not easily spotted at first sight, and I have to go by touch. The plants are tight in place already, but the moss above them is still a bit loose. For lack of a hole, I'm using the crack at the edge on the top of the mount. And so here they are. This is how it looks in the back. I must not forget the tag. And as temperatures are still nice around here, I will keep this mount under the porch, and so I'll take you there. Here is the place where they used to live. Here they get good light and some direct sun, but only at sunset. Days are getting shorter. And from the 16 hours of light each day in the peak of summer, we have come down already to 12 hours, which is in fact more comfortable for the orchids because it's so much similar to what they get in the tropics. And when I say temperatures are still comfortable, I mean I'm getting now about the same temperatures as I had in summer, but not very hot. My summer is never very hot. So days are usually around 22 or 23 Celsius during the day and 17 to 18 Celsius at night. So this is what we are getting now, same as we got all summer. Also not to forget that my summers are humid because I live by the ocean, but they are dry in what concerns rain. So my orchids better take this time of the year to grow a bit more because everything will change in 3 or 4 weeks. The orchids on this rack are bathing in the sun, which will give them a boost. The sun is still quite warm, but not as hot as in summer. Still, it is past 11 and it is time to draw the curtain over them. I don't want to get them burnt. It has been raining a lot since the beginning of October, but I hope that the next week will be sunny. Before we go, let me show you my fish. Some of them are getting huge, although they are the same age as the other small ones. It makes me believe that fish are like orchids. Some are more vigorous than others. And so this is all for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again next time.